How about this young OKC team? It looked like they were dead in the water at times. They find a way to grind out a Game 4 victory, 196. This series now tied at 2 apiece, headed back to OKC. Morgan, I don't know how many times we both said this during the game when we were watching it, is, man, OKC's still in this thing. And it felt like Dallas was in complete control at times in the first half, but the lead never got massive. It wasn't a 20-point game, a 25-point game.
Arm's length.
It was the biggest lead for Dallas was 14. And you went, wow, OKC's not playing well. They're not making shots. Defensively, they can't guard this two-man game. Nothing was going right for them, yet they were still in the game.
Yeah. They were still in the game mostly because Dallas was giving them the game, in my opinion. I felt like it was just a disappointing performance from Dallas, and we can get into that, but first we can celebrate the fight and the resilience of this young OKC team that truly seemed like at times that it was going to just be all over for them.
And what a swing game it is, right? Like 3-1 versus 2-2. That's everything.
Huge.
And in the second half, SGA said, get on my back.
Yeah, he did.
I'm the old man in this group.
Yeah.
And he took over. I mean, he shredded them in the mid-range.
Yep.
He wasn't going to try to force it at the rim because Dallas was doing a fantastic job protecting the paint. Their length was definitely bothersome tonight. Their Derrick Jones Jr., Gafford, Lively all made incredible defensive plays. The weak side defense from Dallas at times was fantastic. And the adjustment was like, you know what? You're going to give me the mid-range? I'm taking the mid-range. It's my bread and butter. I'm going to dominate.
He's capable of obviously making his shots in the mid-range, and that's exactly what he was doing tonight. He started to adjust his game. And I say he started to adjust his game because I even looked at you at one point in this game, and I was like, man, it really feels like SGA is missing his automatics. And then I went and looked at the box score, and I'm like, oh, he's 9 of 18. He's still shooting 50%.
Yeah.
And you want the ball in his hands. You want him taking most of these shots. But there just felt like a different energy from his shots and what he was doing in that first half. And then a shift in his confidence in the second half. You talk about Dallas's defense and how they were doing a fantastic job of collapsing the paint. I thought that's what we really saw from OKC the first couple of games on Dallas. And so Dallas took a little bit of their own medicine and was like, okay, well, we're going to make sure that we are the ones that you are feeling our presence in the paint defensively. And the fact that OKC was able to adjust, especially since they were shooting like shit from three-point land, was beyond me.
They were 1 of 11 at the half from three-point land.
So, and who was the one?
Josh Giddey.
Thank you.
Josh Giddey. 1 of 11 from 3 in the first half. They end up knocking down 6 in the second half. They finished the game 7 of 27. And this is what's mind-blowing. And I'm sure if you're a Dallas fan tonight, this game is going to make you sick.
Oh, yeah.
You hold OKC to 28 points in the paint. They shoot 38% in the game. They're 7 of 27 from 3, 25.9%. And you lost the game.
And that's it. You lost the game. That's exactly where I'm at with this. It's got to be frustrating, especially on your home floor. Can I talk about Dallas? Yeah, I mean, I have so much more I think we can talk about with OKC.
We can bounce around a little bit.
But truly, I just think with Dallas, like the way that they started this game, they came out, they set the tone, they're making buckets. But what was working so well for them? It wasn't Luka. It wasn't Kyrie just like going off. It was the two-man game. It was team basketball that was being played. And when I say the two-man game, it didn't matter if it was Lively. It didn't matter if it was Gafford, the way that they were slipping, the short roll, in the pick and roll action, whatever it was. Kyrie would find them. Luka would find them as a lob threat. And it was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful basketball. PJ Washington knocking down every single three that he was taking. Grant Hill calling him Peja Stojakovic for even a goddamn second. I was like, whoa, let's slow your roll. And then he made another three, and I was like, Peja. So yeah, what Dallas was capable of doing at first, it just looked like pure dominance, but it still never found its way of being like a 20-point lead or just really, really just breaking away from OKC. And I think it's because of their turnovers, one, but then also in the second half, they went away from the two-man game.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. And like, give OKC's defense a lot of credit too. They competed tonight. They played physical. I thought Cason Wallace had some great moments. SGA late. PJ Washington's trying to post him up. And look, he held his ground, forced a tough miss.
Yeah.
Chet, just the whole series defensively has just been an absolute menace. Whether he's blocking shots or not, he's making guys think in the paint. And you saw that several times from Dallas tonight. But going off your point, which was Dallas. Where were we going?
It was the turnovers. It was the two-man
turnovers.
game.
The two-man game. Going away from that, I'm going, this was working. The two-man action, whether it's Kyrie and Gafford, Kyrie and Lively, Luka in the two-man game, they went away from it. And it's not just that the lob was going to be there all night.
Yeah.
But the fact is, Chet was coming up on this.
My God.
And then the weak side help from Josh Giddey was not good enough, or even Cason Wallace. It just seemed like OKC was never in the right position with their weak side defense. It got better in the second half for sure, but I think it's something that Dallas could have still exploited because it's not just about, hey, getting the lob. Maybe you can get someone in the short roll, spray out for three. There's aspects that you can create from the pick and roll, and they went away from that.
They started going a little bit more ISO, I felt like, as well. Even if it wasn't Luka or Kyrie, it felt like it was PJ a little bit. And I get it. Like, everyone, you could feel the tension kind of build up, especially as OKC started chipping away, and they kept going further and further away from their game. I wasn't surprised when OKC finally went ahead, and I know you were like, this is shocking, or this is crazy, or whatever it is.
It's shocking from this standpoint, Morgan. This OKC team, this is like their first real experience playing like meaningful playoff basketball together. These guys have played in big games in college and coming up for sure, but this is playoff level basketball. They got punched in the mouth. The Dallas defense was flying everywhere. The rotations were fantastic. The contests were great. Luka had some amazing weak side help defensively.
Gafford with 3 blocks, Lively with 4.
I mean, they were Derrick Jones. It seemed like they were relentless. They were playing physical. They had everything going. And it was probably the first time I'm like, well, maybe this is too much for them in this first go around. And that's okay. This team's got to learn. You got to go through these experiences. But for them to take the punch and keep playing and play more physical in the second half, stay composed, and they knew, all right, if we can make some shots here, it's going to open some things up. When you're missing a ton of shots and Dallas is getting out, getting some good looks, they're getting the crowd into it, that's so deflating. They got stops in the second half. And then, of course, on the other end, they're making shots. SGA took it over, and then late in this game, some big threes by others. Chet Holmgren put them up.
I think the most exciting part about what OKC was capable of doing in this one with coming back, you think about them scrambling for answers. For example, Lou Dort gets 2 quick fouls in this game. Josh Giddey is taking far too many shots to start off this game. So then you have OKC scrambling like, okay, where do we go next? You see Williams getting time in this one. They're looking for energy. They're looking for strength. We talked about how it felt like OKC at times looked so small, and maybe they just need more size. But then they kept finding answers, and they kept fighting back. And then Jalen Williams there at the end, just remaining aggressive on the defensive end, but still, and then on the offensive end as well, going to the basket strong, looking for his shots as well. I think SGA, when he started really taking over a little bit more and started like making a point to do it, right? Because even when I saw when he was 9 of 18 or 6 of 13 or whatever it was early on in the game, it's like he was still doing a good job, but it didn't shine. And once it started to shine, I think it was inspiring to the rest of the team to be like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. Let's do our thing. And it went down the list, and it felt like even the others were able to step up a little bit more.
Yeah, you look at what happened in the fourth quarter. OKC, after struggling so much offensively, ends up in the fourth quarter shooting 48%. They outscored Dallas 35-27. SGA had 10, but he also had 4 assists. He had 3 rebounds. Chet gave you 7 points, 4 rebounds in the fourth quarter. Jalen Williams, who on the night did not shoot the ball well, but does the end of the game do something for him? He finishes 5 of 19. He was 3 of 7 in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Lou Dort had 8 points, hit 2 critical threes for them. So they got it going in a big time way. They only had 1 turnover. Meanwhile, the points off turnovers, that's the point you're bringing up too. And this is the game right here.
Yep.
14 turnovers from Dallas in this game. 7 from Luka tonight. Turned into 19 points for Oklahoma City. On the other end, as a team, OKC had 8 turnovers.
Ooh-wee.
So you're missing shots, sure, but you're not throwing the ball away like Dallas was at times tonight.
Yeah.
Just some really, really tough turnovers for Dallas that were costly. And then if you really want to break it down, it's a 4-point game, 4-point win for OKC. Look at the free throws tonight.
Well,
Dallas
that's it.
shot 23 free throws.
Yeah.
OKC shot 24. Well, the difference is OKC makes 23 of 24 tonight. Dallas 12 of 23.
Yeah.
You make a few more free throws, you win this game. And that is where you walk away going, we had this game. We had a 3-1 series lead. Now this series is tied at 2 apiece.
Correct.
Our 2 stars are not playing well offensively right now from a scoring output in Luka and Kyrie. And now we have to go on the road in game 5 against OKC with a team that has confidence again.
Look, they'll figure it out because I don't feel like it was necessarily OKC's defense that was like stopping Luka and Kyrie tonight. They were missing a lot of bunnies. They were missing shots that we're used to seeing them, make, whatever it is, right? They just were not making shit tonight. It just wasn't good. And obviously we know that OKC can, though, figure it out, collapse in the paint, and make life more difficult for them. But when you look at those free throws, you expect someone like Lively to miss his free throws. That's why they went to hack a Lively the other night. Like, you're going to have that. But when you have some of your main key pieces, like, I don't know, Luka Doncic going to the free throw line when it's 96, 94, and you have a chance to tie the game, you miss the first and make the second, it's not about just putting the points on the board at that point. It's deflating for the entire team. And in that moment, I know that you're banged up and all these things, but it's a free throw. It's not like you're going, oh man, it was hard jumping off my knee in this situation. It's a free throw. That is focus. That is being ready for that big of a moment. And he wasn't ready for it.
He has not shot the ball well at all in this series, except for one game. He had 18 points. He had a triple-double in this one. 18, 12, and 10. 6 of 20 in this game for Luka. 2 of 9 from 3, and the 7 turnovers I mentioned. I thought some of the turnovers, some of the decision-making tonight was not good enough.
It was lazy.
And we all acknowledge he's banged up right now. We acknowledge that Lou Dort at times is just beyond physical to a level that's like, what are you doing out there? But the reality is he is not playing good enough. And if Dallas wins this game tonight, we're going, wow, man, they found a way again when Luka's not shooting the ball well to win. This is pretty damn impressive. But you have him have 18. Kyrie, 9 points. This started to be a little bit of a theme. I know he took over late last game, but this has been a theme of the series where they've done a good job containing him.
Yep. And even because there's so many, oh my God, there's so many sexy ass passes from Kyrie Irving where it's like his pocket pass, splitting defenders, wherever it is, leading his teammate to the basket. It creates the entire defense to shift a different way, to have a miscommunication just from a fantastic pass from a floor manager like Kyrie Irving. His 9 assists. Fantastic job. I remember even saying to you when we were watching this, like something about how, when they win, because at this point I just felt like they were going to win the game. It was like, this is what we're talking about. And now the story, the narrative has completely shifted because you guys gave OKC Thunder the game instead of just ripping it away. You got lazy with some of your turnovers there throughout this game. You missed your free throws, mental mistakes, and then defensively, you also went away from like being so dominant like you were. Like there was just so many more guys. SGA, I'm expecting him to get to his spots. He is that damn good. But there's other guys on this team, even Jalen Williams, who I think is such a good young player. Like, I've seen Dallas have enough physicality against him to at least slow him down, to disrupt. Disruption wasn't there the last 6 minutes of this game, it felt like.
Just a brutal loss.
Yeah.
And the free throws, by the way, in the fourth quarter, OKC 7 of 7. 6 for 11 in the fourth quarter from the Dallas Mavericks.
Dude, OKC, I'm super happy for them. Again, the way that they were able to pull this one out and find a way with even all the adversity that is being thrown at them. I'm sorry, like your starter, Josh Giddey, playing 12 minutes in this one, and that it seems to be the theme, obviously through the postseason, like he's getting played off the floor. That's not. I could imagine a team that has the experience of being there and veterans to be able to make that adjustment. But for a young team to be able to make that adjustment and then pull out a win when you're not at home, it's incredible. And
the adjustment late in this game, for the majority of that fourth quarter, you had Dort out there with Jalen Williams, Chet, SGA, and Cason Wallace. Cason Wallace, a rookie. In this past draft with the 10th pick, and he's out there, had that big block on the Kyrie three-point attempt. And then he's checking Luka at times.
Yep.
The guy brings it defensively, and I thought he helped shift things for Oklahoma City. That smaller lineup, although can be problematic from like a rebounding perspective, it didn't kill him. I thought they competed so well defensively. I want to look at the fourth quarter rebounding real fast. Fourth quarter rebounding, 13-13.
Yeah.
It's tied, like they were out there busting their asses to make things happen. 4 offensive rebounds in that fourth quarter too. 2
things I want to get to. First with Lou Dort, and then just remind me of Chet Holmgren. But with Lou Dort, I think something that we forgot to really talk about last game. We didn't forget. We mentioned it. But he has been a little, like, I appreciate his physicality and the way that he gets up in people, but he's been a little reckless, right? Like, they need him out there on the floor. He finished with 5 fouls, right? Yeah. And I just hope he finds a way to stay a little bit more under control, because especially when he was starting to knock down those threes late in this game, it was like, yes, this is why they need you. This is why they need you to stay out there as well, not just what you're capable of doing on the defensive end. And then Chet Holmgren, the way that even at times when he doesn't seem to be playing his best basketball, there's something about him. I don't know. Maybe it's it being his size, alone is what can adjust an entire game. But truly, his presence out there just affects offenses, and especially offenses like Dallas that went away from being confident, that went away from taking him out of the paint, and he did a great job adjusting. And we said after last game, hey, you need more scoring from Chet and Jalen Williams. Well, at least from Chet's perspective, he gave you 18 points, did a good job on the glass too, the 4 blocks. That was pretty significant. Let's shout out both teams for how they protected the paint for a second, because these points in the paint numbers, insane. And I'm sure some of it's like, hey, some guys missed shot. Like Kyrie missed some great looks in the paint tonight. But floaters. I'm sure you can go back and look that Jalen Williams missed some good looks in the paint too. So in this game, the Mavs had 40 points in the paint, pretty low. They were 20 of 45 in the paint. But check this out. OKC had 28 points in the paint. They were 14 of 41 in the paint. And a huge credit to Dallas for just being on a string defensively, especially in the first 2.5 to 3 quarters. 2.5. Because it was special. Derrick Jones Jr. is going to get paid this offseason. Oh my God. He's playing with much more confidence out there offensively. He had 17 points in this game, 4 blocks. He is just a menace. One of my favorite plays tonight, he ran Jalen Williams off the line from 3. Williams puts the ball on the floor. Well, Derrick Jones comes from behind and has a rear contest block. Yeah. Those are just game-changing plays, and it just seems like he's always finding a way to get back in plays and contest something. I thought Daniel Gafford did the same thing. Derek Lively. You're like, these guys are everywhere where they're contesting a shot at the rim. How about the one play where I think it was Isaiah Joe in the corner in the first half? Luka came over, and then Gafford comes over to contest, and both guys used their length
to force a turnover.
Yeah, and even in those moments, I mean, I saw Luka have like a couple fantastic rotations where he was making that extra hustle play to make sure that he was getting his feet out of the paint to be there and not be late. And that effort was there. And not to say that it slowly went away. I think OKC started doing a better job of attacking them differently. But at the same time, it just started to slow down from everybody. And when you have the perimeter pressure from Kyrie Irving and you have guys like Gafford and Lively blocking people at the rim, protecting the shit out of it, like it is inspiring, and it can bring a different energy to that defensive end. So the fact that it started to kind of go away was something else that I was a little disappointed about, because this is the playoffs. Like you go home if you're not winning these games. In a game like this on your home floor, you gave it away. And you're going to regret some of those moments late in this game that you didn't do something that you should have done.
One more note, 13 blocks tonight for the Dallas Mavericks.
Hell.
Outstanding. 4 from Derek Jones, 4 from Derek Lively, 3 from Gafford. And those guys stayed out of foul trouble too, playing some really good defense. I'm sure there's a couple calls you'd be like, oh, they probably should have called that. You mentioned Luka's defense. I made a note a couple of times. One, just weak side. First quarter, Lively runs Wiggins off the line. Luka comes over on the weak side. And then Lively gets back in the play and is able to contest the shot. That's protecting the paint at its finest. Then second quarter, Luka gets switched out into Jalen Williams, which is a tough matchup. They like that matchup. They go try to attack it. Luka contained him, forced him into a midi that was well contested, a missed shot. It was great defense by Luka in that situation. So it's one of those weird things. If this is a regular season game, you're frustrated, but you're like, man, the defense, man, you just make shots, you'll clean it up. These games, it's hard to like take a lot of great from it when you lose in the fashion that Dallas lost.
Correct. I mean, Luka, we saw him talking a little bit after the game. He's like, we got to make our free throws. And it's like, yeah, no shit. And there's like a couple other things you needed to like take care of the basketball and just like switch your focus because it's not going to get any easier.
Game 5 is going to be fascinating in Oklahoma City.
It'll be fun.
I think Jalen Williams has got to feel a lot more confident after his finish in this one. He also had 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. Even though his offense isn't where it has been, his shooting, he is still finding ways to impact the game.
Yeah.
And so this OKC team's fighting through the struggles. Can they get out of this and build a little momentum? What is Dallas's response going to be? Let us know in the comments below what you think about this series now that's tied at 2-2, headed back to Oklahoma City. Are you feeling differently about the Mavs? Mavs fans, how do you explain the night? How are you feeling? What changes need to be made? In Oklahoma City, I know you're feeling good, but where are you at headed into Game 5? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The